Okay, we'll go to the audience for just quick questions, and please raise your hand for questions. I'm going to outsource. I was going to ask a question on early learning, but I'm going to outsource that to the audience because I know we've got a question from Chiang Lim.
Hello, Chiang.
Having come from Singapore myself, I'm shocked to hear about $20,000 in the Northern Beaches relocation or incentive to recruit teachers. Contextually, Victoria is offering $9,000 to $50,000 to get educators and early childhood teachers to Victoria. We already have, we cannot achieve the 13,000 educators and teachers by 2023, and yet we are already now seeing anecdotally, or if we could, the majority of early childhood services across New South Wales, particularly in Sydney, reducing their capacities in order to maintain the educators and teachers to meet the demand. And of course, we are now seeing waiting lists grow. Putting aside the issue of pay, is it not the issue really about outcomes? Educators and teachers are frustrated and leaving our sector because they cannot understand how they're supposed to achieve their jobs, to fulfill their jobs or vocations. And when they are coming back as casuals because they do not want to have any responsibilities whatsoever. And then yet we are also criticized that the AEDC data is showing 40 to 45% are developmentally not on track for school. Yet we have a quality rating system that imposes on us to achieve particular outcomes. These are not integrated, they are not harmonized. Is it not that educators and teachers are just simply being demoralized by the system to achieve the outcomes that we want, and that's why we can't get educators and teachers? So in your first year as the minister, what are you going to do to achieve this problem of shortages and also achieve clear outcomes that educators and teachers can achieve?
I take your point, Chiang, about the outcomes, and as I've said before, like that would be something that we could look at in government very seriously. I think the issues at play in terms of workforce shortages and drain and retention in early childhood are so complex, like they are in primary and high schools, but so complex. Today we've announced a range of measures, including scholarships for early childhood educators to upskill, particularly to diploma and bachelor degrees, to be funded by the government, and also paid professional development so that people don't have to pay out of their own pocket to upskill themselves and participate in professional development so that centres can meet the requirements of the mix that they need of early childhood educators, which is very complex. But that's one step. That's one step in a very, very difficult job, and pay is part of it. And I know you said if we get past pay, but pay is definitely part of it. And of course, lifting the general rate of pay is not the responsibility of the state government, but certainly a state minister should be arguing for that federally. But that's just sort of some of the ideas that I would have initially.
So I guess what I would say, and Chiang, we've spoken about these issues before. I'd probably break that into two parts. The first is you do need investment in the workforce, and we know that, as part of that $15.9 billion that we've got from our childcare fund to pre-K to developmental checks, we've got a $280 million package which is specifically for workforce. Last year we had almost 1,000 early childhood scholarships alone go out for helping people to upskill. The cost of that, or the investment, I should say, in our staff is more in 1 year than Labor's entire package put together. So I think when you compare who wants to invest in the early childhood workforce, there's quite a stark difference. We've also got our partnership that we announced recently with the University of Wollongong, again for an opportunity for a degree in 2 years rather than 4 for people who are diploma trained and who've been working in the sector for a long time to recognise their worth and their expertise. So there is a lot that we're doing in this space. Part of that package, we also want to look at workforce retention and how we can provide support for those already in the industry. The second point that you make in terms of outcomes, many people would know with the preschool reform agreement, agreement we're working through with the Commonwealth Government. What are some of the ways that we can make sure that that investment in early childhood is getting the outcomes we want? Someone suggested we could call it Nappy Land. I'm not sure whether that would be particularly helpful, but it's not about having a punitive measure, but it's like, how can we make sure that we're getting the support that we need? But the development checks, to your point about children starting school vulnerable, about half of our kids in New South Wales aren't having their 4-year-old development check. So we don't know who has issues with hearing or vision or behavioural or additional needs. And so when we bring that into our services with health, which will start this year, it will be able to help us access a range of data, inform where we need to put supports in, so that number of children starting developmentally vulnerable will go down as the right supports coming in from health and other parts of government come to the table, so that it's not all on the educators. It's about that whole of government approach, which is what we're rolling out through Brighter Beginnings, which is really exciting stuff. And, I've been in government or parliament for 12 years. I've never seen government agencies work that well together, and that's saying something, because it probably should happen more than it does. So
I think Akara is just having a bit of a headache about administering Nappy Land, but we'll pick
we
that
won't do that, David. It's okay.
Pick that one up another time.